Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back
to the Connecting Fragments.
Yes.
We're doing it. I mean, look, we're in it now.
Lift your mic up a little bit. I can barely hear you.
Oh my god.
Pull it towards you.
Why do you not just set it up for me whenever I come to your house? You're like, I'll set up the mic for you, Ben.
Because I set up the technical part so that you can make it comfortable for yourself.
It was comfortable for myself. You're the one looking at the audio levels. God damn.
I'm not even looking at them. I can just hear it.
You're the one listening to the audio levels. It's all right. We're here now. We're in. We're doing the Connecting Fragments. We're learning about everybody's life. We're possibly going to see some Satoshi today, which I'm excited for. I don't even know. I guess we'll find out. Do you have any comments to make before we just jump into it? Or should we just...
Sure.
I don't know. Usually we have like a little preamble, but I don't have anything I particularly want to say right now.
I guess I do want to tell a bit of a personal story.
What?
Ready to kill the mood, Ben?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess so.
So, my grandfather passed away last night.
Oh, God. I was wondering if you were going to bring this up. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it does a bit, but at the same time, I'm okay with it because I've had that emotional journey already.
Yeah.
Like it's been an experience already. So I'm fine, and I appreciate your support, but don't stress. I'm okay.
So you're comfortable with telling the whole world, the whole of the internet about your
But it's just been kind of interesting because I was thinking as I was setting up today, like this whole experience of doing this show has kind of been an interesting bookend because we started it not long after my grandmother passed away, my same grandfather's wife, and then now we're nearing the end of Matsuri Bayashi, and he's passed away.
Yeah.
And it's just been a really interesting experience kind of using this series as a tool to engage more with life philosophies, media criticism, and the things I enjoy.
Yeah.
And kind of having it as this background to what has kind of sucked over the past few years of dealing with that with my family.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's always interesting when you look at media, seeing what parts of yourself you see in it. And I think that there's almost like a really weird disconnect for me with Umineko and Higurashi, where there definitely are thematic tie-overs and crossovers with the experiences that I've had with my family, but there's nothing that I look at in there and go, that's me, that's my experience.
You don't feel like because your grandfather passed, you have to go like gas an entire village and
no, not yet.
He's a god? No, you don't have to do that. No, okay.
But it's kind of interesting because I talk a lot about the idea of like escapism when it comes to media.
Sure.
And I guess I'd never really thought of until earlier today that being a part of why this series is so escapist for me. Because it's a lot of work to do this show. It's a lot of fun.
But it's easy. What are you talking about?
But at the same time, even though I do get invested in the characters in the series and what we're doing here, it still has this nice separation for me that's allowed me to just have fun with it while kind of drowning out other things.
Sure. Yeah.
So, you know, now that kind of bookend has been placed over this for me, you know, it'll kind of always be something that I look back on and associate with this series. You know, that this was to some extent a form of escapism through something that I don't think I really struggled with, but maybe I don't think I struggled with it because I had an outlet like this to vent
Express
it.
yourself. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I've talked about this 1,000 times on and off this show about how, like, when I read Higurashi, I was dealing with some shit, and Higurashi, like, very explicitly helped me deal with my issues with, like, all the shitty friends that I was keeping and, like, undervaluing myself and all that other fun stuff. Umineko, slightly less so, but both of the stories that I've read through have been incredibly impactful in my life, and, like, I can think back and acknowledge that. Even the process again of going back and, you know, reading Umineko again and like doing this YouTube channel, like I would never have learned half the like media skills that I have today if we hadn't decided to do that series in the first place. So you know, it's a little bit sad almost coming to the end of Higurashi, at least, because then we'll have done both of the stories that I had such a strong nostalgia for. But
yeah,
I guess it's like you're saying, it's important to, you know, remember not just the media that you experience, but also the time that you experience it in, and the events that it that you associate with. I guess it's really important to like contextualize it in your own life. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where we end up at the end of this story, and seeing how we come out, I guess.
Yeah. Right, where were we up to? We have
number 11, I believe.
Let's just double check. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That should be it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool. Go to screen 1. You want to have a guess?
I don't remember what the last one we had was, so this isn't going to be an accurate assessment.
You always pick one of the 8.
It's got to be this one, right?
You know what? You think so? Yeah, that's the one. All right, let's rock and roll. The first sacrifice. I was half asleep, so I didn't even hear the phone ringing nearby. After a while, I finally realized the phone was ringing, and a ringing phone means there's some kind of emergency.
Is this Ooishi?
Yes, this is a specific. That's a great question. It might be. It's 2 a.m. Who could even call me at this time of the night?
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. It's Irie. Oh, shit.
Who's calling him at this time of the evening?
Fucking Takano. It's gotta be. Uh-huh. Hello, this is Irie?
I'm sorry to bother you, Dr. Irie.
It's Takano-san! Yay! She's never called me for personal reasons. At the institute, she's ranked just below me, so she's basically responsible for running it. So for her to call me this late at night, it must be an emergency. But what could it be?
I have no clue.
Remember the manager got murdered. So it took me so long. Is it true that we have another terminal patient?
Yes. I was hoping to find a living specimen, so this is perfect.
I initially thought that she'd abducted someone.
And I finally thought that she had abducted someone.
I realized. Oh, damn. The man had already been moved to the research area in the clinic's basement.
It sounded violent.
In the secret basement, one might say. Having been tied down to the examination table, he's struggling against his restraints, but more so, he's deranged than actually resisting. I can't even understand what he's saying. He sounds angry, sorrowful, and like a child throwing a tantrum all at once. It's obvious that he's not in the right state of mind. Anyway, let's put him under anesthesia. He might kill himself otherwise.
I wanted to observe him a little longer, but I guess I have no other choice.
Wow, what are you, some kind of psychopath mass murderer? With God complex? Felix. One of the staff with a white gown got the anesthesia ready. Even a normal person would struggle to escape a restraining table in this suspicious room.
Suspicious being the operative term in that statement.
Yeah. But this man's behavior is at an abnormal level. I'm sure Okunori-san and his friends from the Mountain Dogs are the ones who captured him. Capturing a man in this state of mind couldn't have been an easy task.
I do like the translator's choice of friends there. It's kind of a nice bit of characterization for Irie that he's he can't think military, so he's just like chums.
Yeah, those buddies in the war effort and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's great. According to Takano, she ran into this patient on her way home from the clinic by accident. She brought him back here, tested him, and the result came back positive. Of course, I have no intention of just believing what she's telling me, but there's no question that this man is at the terminal stage, and a live specimen is exactly what we need to research the syndrome. Who is this man, anyway?
He had something wrapped in newspaper. What do you think was in it?
What is this? This something...
I've never heard Ryukishi repeat himself.
Oh, for sure. There's something wrapped in a bloody newspaper on a train nearby. Looking at the blood-drenched paper, I can only imagine there's something gruesome inside of it. Yet Takano-san looked like she wanted to surprise me with a birthday cake. Oh God, this is awful.
Say, Irie, have you seen The Godfather 2?
No, I haven't. It's a very good movie.
How have you heard that? It hasn't even been released yet.
Oh my God! Faints. It's a bloody right arm. The man on the table still has his. This right arm doesn't belong to him. So who does it belong to? I'm used to looking at things like this as a doctor. But the horrible cross-section makes me want to look away. Sorry, away. That's what I meant to throw in there. It wasn't done according to a medically acceptable method, that's for sure. It was obviously done out of cruelty.
Wait, what year is this? This is
I don't remember.
1970... Eight?
Eight? I don't know.
Okay, I guess The Godfather 2 was out.
Was it?
Yeah.
Really? Is that all of a movie? Damn. I have to actually see that.
I think it was 1975.
I should probably see the first Godfather 2, actually.
The first Godfather 2?
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All the Godfathers. I've seen 0 Godfathers.
Judging by the situation, we can assume this man cut off this arm.
So he's the culprit behind the body dumpings that's been occurring in this neighborhood. At that point, there was no way of knowing who the right arm belonged to. But the next morning, the dismemberment murder of the damn construction site director was reported, and they mentioned that his right arm was still missing, so we learned who the arm belonged to.
This man has a criminal record and he's on probation. Yet he committed another crime. I bet he dismantled the body in order to hide it.
I'm sure it depends on the circumstances, but he'll get more than just a few years in prison.
So you won't hesitate to dissect a scumbag like him, right?
Who knows? Maybe he was a scumbag before and became violent due to the syndrome, or maybe he had gone straight but became violent again due to the syndrome. The former is one thing, but if it's the latter case, it's not his fault. That's why Hinamizawa syndrome is so terrifying. We can't tell if the syndrome is the cause of the crime or if it's simply a problem of a human nature. But what causes a defect of human nature in the first place? That was precisely mine area of expertise. It's the crime, not the criminal. Can criminals only be corrected by punishing them with imprisonment? If a person commits a crime because of a mental disorder, but then gets a treatment, he is corrected. In other words, there are no crimes in this world, only patients awaiting treatment without anyone else being able to understand them. In medieval times, patients with mental disorders were said to be possessed by demons, and they were either confined or killed. Centuries after, they were finally acknowledged as mentally ill people who needed treatment. Perception can change with time. Even if they are called criminals now, maybe after several centuries, those criminals will be acknowledged as patients who are entitled to appropriate treatment. Explaining crimes through illness instead of malice. That is my life's work. I'm not sure if I've talked about this on this show before, probably in Umineko, but I actually did a research paper once on mental illness, specifically autism, and how it affected your sentencing. Like if you did a crime and you're on the autism spectrum or you got Asperger's or that sort of ballpark, both of which have been folded into one, which is a fun topic. But anyway, I found that the number one identifier for whether somebody would be given judged as a criminal and put in a prison, or would be put in a psychiatric hospital was the amount of planning that occurred. So there was one case where this girl and her boyfriend, and this was part of the case, obviously, they had premeditated for a full week. They hid gear to murder her mother, and so they were judged as criminals. But there's a story of this guy who was on the autism spectrum. He just lived in this apartment block, and someone came to his door and was like, "I need you to keep the noise down," because he was watching some movies or something. And so this autistic person was pretty much completely quiet, went back into his apartment, and his next door neighbor was shouting at him and telling him off and all this stuff, followed him into the man's apartment, into his bedroom, wherein this person pulled out a revolver out of his nightstand and shot the man in the head, and then emptied the entire gun into the man's body. And when asked later on why he did this, he said because the monsters in the scary movies always get back up even if you just shoot them once. And he was tried and he was put in a hospital because even though what he did was really horrible murder, they couldn't judge him in that same way. They
Yeah.
judged that it was because of his illness, because he didn't understand how to cope with the situation. We can help this person. Now, mind you, I don't remember the years these cases occurred in. I might try and find them and actually put them in the description, because I do have these sources lying around somewhere. But that was the number one thing that I found, that if the case or the situation got due process and was taken to court, it was always about the planning that went into an incident. Which was really interesting.
It kind of reminds me of a few famous cases in the Scandinavian like black metal community.
Oh yeah,
because like there's I think it was like 2 major murders that kind of hugely shook up that community.
Yeah,
and obviously being in Scandinavia, their like situation and acceptance of mental health, whilst it wasn't then what it is now, it's still fair sight better than some of the rest of the world. So. You know, the sentences that those people got were very heavily based on, you know, the mental health and circumstances around that situation. And it's just so interesting seeing how, you know, even though there is that very kind of consistent correlation there, that there's still not necessarily a platform for dealing with it appropriately.
I should say there is one other kind of category of crime committed by at least people on the autistic spectrum, and that is premeditated crimes that are essentially harmless. I don't have a proper term for them. I just remember reading about a case. I think this was actually in America. There was just this guy who because one of the kind of quirks that people with Asperger's syndrome as diagnosed tend to have is that they'll have special interests that they'll use to kind of relate to the world. And this particular guy, he had an obsession with bus drivers and like buses. So he had his own bus driver uniform, and he would dress up in his bus driver uniform, go steal a bus from the local bus depot, and take people around on joyrides. And he was never prosecuted. Like if they found him like doing his thing, they were like, all right, maybe you should like give us the bus back. But nobody ever like prosecuted him or reported him. He just kind of did his own thing, which is so wholesome.
It is.
I loved it. Hinamizawa syndrome is a strange disease that can support my theory. Solving its mysteries is extremely important to me. To solve these mysteries, I need a medical sacrifice. It is an extremely sinful thing to do, but there's no way to unravel this without it. The Erie Institute was authorized to take such drastic measures if necessary. That's why I was asked about it so many times when I accepted the position of director. And finally, the opportunity is here. This will be the first step of our research of this strange disease.
I hope so much that the next sequence about this is just there's nothing there.
Oh no. But even now, I am a little hesitant. I've opened up human bodies in many surgeries. What I'll be doing on this man is something very similar, but there's also something very different. What I did before was part of treatments. I did it to save the patients' lives. I did it so the patients could have a better future.
Oh god, it's the trolley problem.
But what I try to do here is a treatment. He will die at the end of it.
Do you pull a lever, Arie?
Pull the lever! His death will be far from humane. I'm going to violate nature and force him to stay alive while I open up his living brain. Just drug him up, it's fine.
Director Arie, are you listening?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Is that shot in the anime just him completely still as the camera just slowly crops in on him?
I assume so. I don't remember this scene very well, I'll be honest.
I believe it's best that we submit the dissection proposal to Tokyo and request their assistance.
Yes, ask them for permission
He's
to
not
do
only
it.
alive, he's also in the terminal stage, so he's an extremely important specimen. We must conduct the dissection very carefully.
Also, if they give you permission to do it, then they're the ones that are responsible, not you. So that works on an ethical level.
That's
I
right.
think
The Nuremberg defense does work on an ethical level.
That makes sense to me. That's very true. You're very right. Nuremberg had a good point. Let's do as you say. I wasn't going to say the name of the trials, but thank you. Thank you, Felix.
I think we'll have a few days before the dissection, so I want to run some reaction tests once he's off the anesthetic.
Oh, do you think that's even slightly humane? even if he's restrained, we don't know what will happen.
We finally have the opportunity to test a live specimen. We can't only look into his brain.
Oh God. Takano-san's unusual cheerfulness made me feel just a little bit suspicious. Maybe her reaction is normal. Maybe I am the one who's not reacting normally in this situation. I am here only for the research, so I should be excited to have the opportunity to perform our first live dissection. But I'm still hesitant. How can I call myself a researcher? Researchers of the past were brave enough to cross the line, and that's how they accomplished many things. I've seen many brains. I've operated on them. I've lost some patients too, but I never thought anything of it because I knew I did the right thing, even when my hard work was denied afterwards. If it paid me to think of that, then I just needed to advance the field of medicine to ensure their deaths weren't wasted. That's the true form of those advancing the field of medicine. Yet, why was my heart tormenting so much just by changing the name from treatment to dissection? Does it mean that I am not man enough to emulate those great men of the past who opened the doors to new medicines, that I don't have the power to develop new advances myself? I think she's breaking into his mind cave.
Yeah, I'm just...
What are you going to pick out there?
It's just... I had the thought because yesterday was the 75th anniversary of the dropping of the Hiroshima bomb.
Oh, God.
And it's like...
We're doing a lot of heavy shit this episode.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, listen...
I was trying to keep it light, but all right, whatever.
No, we're going to get it all out in this one so that in the next ones we record today, it's not going to be so grim.
Mm-hmm. Unless I come up with something awful.
Please do.
I will.
But, like... It's kind of interesting looking at that last page in that context there, where it's like looking at the science that was done
now we're all
with the Manhattan Project.
Yeah, totally.
Like, there's a lot to be said for the Manhattan Project, where basically, as I understand it, there were a lot of scientists around the world who knew the nuclear bomb was coming.
Yeah.
So even though historically we kind of see it as America was working on this big secret project, it was basically either we get it first or they do in a lot of people's minds.
Someone's gonna pull the trigger.
Yeah,
and so I mean, like, that's the philosophy that's like followed all of like nuclear armaments.
Oh, absolutely.
Like development with like who can have the most nukes. It's great.
Yeah, and I mean that's clearly something that Ryukashi kind of takes in stride in his stories, is that idea. But it's interesting looking at this justification here because it's very much using the same approach, but this isn't the kind of thing that someone else is going to discover first.
Sure. It's do you open the box when you find it in the woods? Because no one else is going to find it. It's like Jumanji. There we go.
Which Jumanji though?
The end of the first movie, because that's when because they've actually got a physical box in the first movie, and they dump it in the water, and then some kids find it on the sand.
I'm not asking for technical accuracies. I was just wondering which is the canon Jumanji to you now, the original one,
obviously,
or the video game one.
The video game one? Oh, you mean the movie with the video game in it? No, obviously the original one. Come on now. You can't beat the OG.
Hot takes.
Wait, how is that a hot take to say that the original is the better one? It's like the opposite of a hot take. It's a cold take. That's me like, yeah, like cheese is pretty good. I like cheese.
I guess I'm the one making the hot take then.
Do you prefer the video game one?
What's the matter, director?
Hold on now.
Are you feeling okay?
Hold on now. It's my line. Do you prefer the video game Jumanji to the original?
That's not what your line says.
No. Felix, I am speaking to you through the screen. Do you prefer, this is experiment now, do you prefer the video game Jumanji or the board game Jumanji?
I think you would prefer the video game one if you had to direct A/B test them.
That's so dumb. You're the worst. Are you not even going to tell me the truth?
I haven't watched the original in long enough to say for sure, but because I am not a man who sits on fences.
Good.
I'm kidding. I sit on fences all the time.
Okay.
The modern one.
Good.
Hot take.
I'm glad that you've finally picked one, and now we can fight about that in another episode. I'll bring it back. Takano is pretending to be concerned about me, but she knows. She knows I'm still hesitating.
I don't know why "but" is the term used there.
She knows.
Seems like more of an "and."
Yeah. And she's telling me that I should be ashamed as a researcher for feeling that way. I shook my head to clear it of sleepiness. Remember, the resolve brought me here to this day. I already have blood on my hands. But if I stop now, their lives will be wasted. It is sunk cost. Those who shed their blood can only rest in peace once they've become the cornerstones of great research. I shook my head once more and reminded myself that I am a researcher. No, I was just thinking, Takuno-san, please make some arrangement with Tokyo and let me know when it is done.
Okay, understood. This is really exciting.
Oh God. The least I can do is my best, so his life won't be wasted. If he bleeds, I can't waste even a drop of his blood. After scolding my staff for their indiscretion of discussing the dissection with such excitement, I returned to my office. So it seems like it's not just Takuno who's excited about this, it's like everyone except for Irie.
Listen, they picked their stuff. They picked their stuff well.
Are they even scientists? Or are they just more mountain dogs? Are they just more mountain dogs, though? Oh. Boop, 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 boop. There you go. That's it for that particular bombshell. Da, 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 da. We are going to... What is 12? Screen 3.
Damn, I thought it was going to be top right there.
Nah. You want to have a guess?
It's probably that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably bottom right.
Yeah, it's that one.
Let's go.
Number 12, the old guy.
Dots.
Lots of dots. I don't know what to say. I want to say something, but I can't think of the right words. I can only say. Ah, Ooishi-san, I've been looking for you. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster. Be quiet? Is this some doctor guy? Oh my God, what is happening? The old coroner. Oh my God, it's Kumagai barging in. What is happening?
What's happening?
What is happening? It's a place of rest.
Sorry. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster for the suspect.
Is this supposed to be Ooishi?
I think so.
Why is this sprite on screen?
I don't know.
That's weird. Whatever.
Points if it's not.
Points if it's not. If he just suddenly appears on screen like a golden god. Can you talk to Komiyama-kun about that? I need to speak to coroner here. Could you tell him I will be right over?
Okay.
Kumagai ran out of the autopsy room with the same haste he entered in.
So either he wasn't really running, or he basically went brr, brr,
yeah,
like some kind of cartoon character.
He just teleported. Lively, isn't he? Oh, other way around. This is the coroner saying lively. That's your line.
Lively, isn't he?
Thank you. Hey, hold on, my line.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
The old man, how can you try and bereave me of Ooishi lines? There's so precious few of them these days. The old man would have slapped him for making such a fuss.
You probably should go back too. The air in here isn't for people who are alive.
Oh, all right then. You're very right. I do miss my air conditioning in my car. If I slack off too long, I might get slapped as well.
Here in Shishibone, all the hoodlums cross the street when you pass through, yet he's the only one, past or future.
What?
Who's ever punched you for splitting your sumo wrong.
Past or future? Just another god. He really was a merciless man. I think he punched me more than my real father.
Doesn't matter if he was your real one or not. If you looked up to him in the same way, he really was a father to you.
Mm-hmm. Ooishi's like, oh, damn, that's some tough shit. Oh shit, Ooishi backstory.
Backstory,
hi. Boop, 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 boop. My real father passed away in Nagoya. He was unlucky. If he wasn't given the order to move to a plant in Nagoya, he wouldn't have died in an air raid. If he could have ruled it out another half a year or so, then the war would have been over. I was sad, of course, but I was grown up enough by then that I didn't cry into the ground like my mother did. But people feel sadness in different ways. For some people, it all comes at once as an overwhelming wave, but others, such as myself, you see, feel sadness gradually over a long period of time. I think I was the latter. When he was alive, I only ever thought of him as annoying. In my mind, I even cursed him with questions about why he avoided the draft, and I thought my feelings towards him would always be the same. Then, the war ended. As I saw families and friends be reunited with joy as they came home from the front, it finally happened. I grieved for my father's death. Japan was filled with people who were sad and full of despair. I knew I wasn't the only one whose life ended up that way, but I remember I was very, very heartbroken. After the war, the nation completely changed. As a policeman, the environment I worked in went through sudden changes too. In order to forget my sorrow, the only thing I could do was devote myself to my work. At the time...
Wait.
What?
So, Ooishi was old enough to not mourn his father's death and be working as a policeman.
Yes. He's
but
an old
not
man.
get drafted himself,
Yes.
and to be frustrated with his father for not getting drafted.
Yes.
I'm very confused.
He fits in a very specific category. I'm sure there's a timeline somewhere someone can make this make sense. At the time, I was in charge of busting people for buying rice illegally.
Or maybe the police were, like, excluded.
I was gonna say, because he was like, I'm a policeman, I'm an essential worker. Or whatever the term might have been.
Who knows?
I was busting people for buying rice illegally. I conducted spot checks on travelers at major train stations, and boy did I find a lot of them. There was a fairly big black market in Gaga, and a lot of people came from as far as Osaka to buy it. After the war, Japan faced a chronic shortage in food supply. To those ends, the nation instituted a food rationing program by signing the Food Control Act. But the rations the government provided weren't even close to being enough to feed families. Therefore, people had no choice other than buying food and supplies on the black market. The government hardly had enough food for rations, but there was somehow plenty on the black market. The dealers there sold it at outrageous prices, and some of them became quite wealthy. The Sonozaki family made their money through that black market, but that is another story for another arc. The government didn't bother arresting these dealers, for with their money they were able to buy off the top members of the police department. Instead, they decided to go after the people buying the goods and even confiscated the rice they bought by selling everything they owned.
Yes, I remember that. Wasn't there a prosecutor who starved himself to death?
Yeah, there was. The prosecutor who vowed not to eat illegal rice starved to death, wasn't it in 1947? Yeah, that was horrible. He, a public prosecutor, a pillar of peace, proved it himself that people couldn't survive by adhering to the law. That prosecutor had grown tired of the government charging people with doing whatever they could to survive, and he proclaimed that he was never going to buy black market rice ever again. And so in 1947, he starved to death when he was only in his mid-30s. Because that is how you die in Japan. Starvation. The law prohibited people from buying black market rice, but that was the only way to survive. In that case, was the Food Control Act a bad law itself? The death of the prosecutor was seen as a desperate message to the government about the unjustness of that law. They rounded up people with bags of rice and lined them up at the temporary inspection point, also known as the tip, next to the station. It was like military tribunal. We inspected their bags and confiscated everything that they bought at the black market. The women all cried. They sold everything they owned to buy the rice. They pleaded that if we confiscated the rice, how would they feed their starving children?
Doesn't make sense, huh? Yet they forbade you from going after the sellers, so it was absolutely unfair from the view of the people.
Who's this, like, spirit animal old man? You know, in those stories where it's just
listen,
the guy who you meet on the bridge.
I already told you, this guy is a ghost who's running the fucking mortuary.
He's the guy who, like, meets you on the bridge every day and it's like, so tell me about your day, son. And then right at the end, he, like, fades into nothingness. Mm-hmm. That's literally what this character is. Everyone was on edge. If they heard the police inspection was set up at the next station, they'd jump off the train and run. We were aware of these people, so we set up several officers near jump-off spots in order to capture them. I remember chasing after women carrying several kilos of rice on them. That was when I first met the old man. Man, I was surprised. Remember, my father, he looked exactly like him. I really thought that maybe my father had miraculously survived the air raid in Naria. I was chasing a man who was running away from the inspection point. There was no way for him to run with a heavy bag of rice like that on him, so either he'd get arrested with illegal rice or escape by ditching the rice that he bought by selling all of his belongings. In other words, if a person is being chased by the police, that person can't provide his family any rice to eat. Of course, I feel guilty about that. I knew people had to buy the rice to survive, so we had a tacit agreement to let those who dished the rice and ran to get away. So, I always thought the same thing as I chased them. Please, throw it away. I didn't want to catch him, because I didn't want to hear him crying and pleading in distress. It was then that the old man showed up. He looked exactly like my dead father. I was dumbfounded. Then, all of a sudden, he punched me right in the head. If a father disciplines you as a child, you lower your head in apology. I was so happy to see my father again that I couldn't hold my joy in. The old man, he said, "Let him go." When I heard his voice, I realized he wasn't my father, so I thought I'd arrest him for assaulting a policeman. But a young man like me who'd barely grown any hairs yet was no match for an older man used to fighting. He sure taught me a lesson. He gave me a good scolding in the middle of the street after I was all beat up. Nah, who would even listen to him, right? But something struck me then. I kept seeing my own father in him. All that I could do was listen. Yeah, he was a ruffian, but he showed his guts like a real man. That's what made him such a great guy. You don't see men like him nowadays. He was a true example of a man from the good old times. And despite my age, I still needed a father. I needed someone to look up to and to show me what makes a man a man. When I think about it, I really did have two fathers. The old man was a father, a brother, and my best friend. But now, here he lies with his head, body, arms, and legs all dismembered, and his right arm hasn't been found. He taught me how to be a man, how to enjoy alcohol, how to play mahjong, and with that right arm, he gave me a good beating when I did something wrong, but that right arm is still missing.
Do you have any suspects?
Yeah, of course. I swear, I will find the old man's right arm and pay them back for what they've done to him. They're running Hinamizawa from the shadows and inciting this collective crime they call the damn protests. This is Onozaki family. I declare war within myself. I already know who my enemy is. I already know.
But does he really?
I already know. But what if he doesn't know? Notice that he said he declares a war within himself because he's conflicted secretly.
That's crazy.
That's insanity.
Honestly, I would never see Ryukishi write anything that outrageous.
That's very silly. There's a lot of Satoshi on this page. Do you think we're going to see that character in this arc again? You think that
I
might
don't
be
think
a thing?
so. I reckon this is just bait.
All right, go to screen one.
Screen one. Is it going to be that one on the bottom right?
No.
Oh, wait, no. It was top Which one was it? This one?
Help from the Queen Carrier is required. Yeah, that's the one.
Research is going well.
Yeah. The Queen Carrier is required, which means we're getting Igurs. Futi-san, thank you for waiting. We just finished that last test. She'll be back soon. I hope she's able to help. Of course. Rika-san will help. Oh, it's not Rika she's talking to. It's her mom, who you're playing.
Oh, God.
We're fucked up. Rika-san will help the whole village. I think we'll be able to come up with a treatment soon. We're still looking into the structure, but we're finding out how important Rika-san is to the villagers. People with more serious conditions can't stabilize themselves, but we found if they get close to the Queen Carrier, they generate some kind of substance in their brain. You wonder why they don't just keep her at the hospital like 24/7. So like as soon as someone shows up, like I feel weird, she could just just put her hands on them.
Listen, if this was the 2010s or the early 2000s,
yeah,
probably would have had a bunch of stem cells and just jammed the Queen Carrier into them.
Yeah,
being like, you stay there.
Yeah. Look, I'm just saying, if she can like touch people on the leg and they feel better, I'm just saying, keep her at the hospital. She's the miracle cure.
That
Rika.
sounds unethical, Ben. I don't know.
Fine.
I wouldn't keep people around the hospital trapped anywhere underground.
I would. I definitely would. Anyway, what was I up to? This substance has a calming effect, and it seems to have the power to bring their symptoms down. If we can produce this substance, it'll end up making for a powerful treatment.
I see. Rika has that kind of power.
Because she is powerful.
You shouldn't be surprised. People say that maidens of the Furude Shrine have the psychic power to calm both souls and demons, don't they?
Oh, damn.
Even before we discovered it, it was recorded in the history of the last few hundred years.
That is true. I'm impressed with how wise people were back then. Meep. The tests are all done.
Rika, good work. You must be getting tired. Why don't you take this and go get something to drink?
Meep. Oh, they took a lot of my blood, so I need to replenish.
Pulls out dagger.
Yeah. I will take your blood. Terrifying. Rika took the 100 yen coin that was offered to her and ran out into the hallway. I appreciate Rika-san's help. If she hadn't offered her assistance, our research wouldn't have progressed this far.
Rika is very concerned about her friend with the syndrome. She said she wants to help because of her.
What friend?
Doctor, please take Rika's feelings into account.
Of course. We're taking up her precious time every Sunday, so we'll make sure to get to the bottom of this. We may have to put her through some rather rough experiments, but I hope you'll understand.
We'll never harm her in any way, though. She's such an important person. She's the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, after all. I wonder how people back then found out about the syndrome and how they knew the Furude family were the descendants of the queen. I'm truly impressed.
By the way, there's something I have to ask you. I would like to ask for your permission to collect her cerebrospinal fluid. Also, there's a chance that we'll have to do a hole in her skull to examine the inside of her head.
A hole in her skull?
There wasn't a more delicate way to broach the subject. Like,
listen,
yeah, Rika's doing very well. She's
we know that Irie, of all of the things that Irie has, bedside manner is not one of them.
It's true. But everyone's always telling us about how mature he is.
Yep.
About how responsible he is.
And they're all wrong. And everyone who says it is a child.
It's true.
Literally.
It's true. Of course, we'll take every precaution. Rika-san is the one and only Queen Carrier. We'll make sure that she's safe. Her safety is our top priority.
Of course, since Rika-chan is a girl, we won't shave her entire head. However, we'll have to ask her to stay at the clinic a little longer so we can keep our eyes on her.
She can still receive visitors, of course. You're more than welcome to attend the examination. I'm sure she'll be more relaxed to have someone she knows nearby.
You really need to perform this examination. Is it really safe?
It seems backwards, if anything. I can't absolutely guarantee her safety. Why would you say this? I can't absolutely guarantee her safety for either collecting cerebrospinal fluid or for doing a hole in her skull. There's always the off chance she might die horribly. Also, Rika-san may suffer from some physical and emotional discomfort. So I have lollipop for her. Even if it's this important, we can't perform it without the parents' consent.
So is Ryukishi trying to poke us and suggest like maybe all of the past arcs is the outcome of this surgery?
What? It's terrifying.
Actually, I've already talked to Rika-chan about it. What did she say? She said it's fine.
I've explained to her the possibility of danger.
But she's 6 years old, so we shouldn't take that too seriously.
But we still need your consent.
Sometimes Rika truly believes that she's the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. So maybe she feels obligated to sacrifice herself for the villagers.
What an impressive child. Oh, what? What? Is there dead? Could you please let me talk to my wife? She understands the situation, but I still need to explain it to her because she's definitely not in this scene. Sure, of course. Please, talk it over with her. Great. Whatever.
Has this been Dad the entire time?
Yeah, this has been Dad the entire time. Because I'll tell you what my thought process was, because people are going to slam me in the comments. My thought process was that he had told her the last time we saw him, not the last time.
I agree. That was my thinking as well. That's why I went along with it.
You should go, wife, to the medical center and see what this is all about, because maybe you'll learn yourself some shit. And now, they're being like, I don't know about this doctor stuff, so like, characterization-wise, it made sense.
I agree. That's why I went along with it.
It's garbage.
So,
points!
Who gets points? Did
Surely
we fail? Did we fail?
Surely we get points for that.
I'm gonna give Ryukishi, I'm gonna give Ryukishi 5 points.
Okay.
But I'm gonna give us 15.
Yay! Create more work
because
for
we
yourself.
definitely may have missed some clues in there.
Did we? Were there any clues? Let us know in the comments if there were any clues, please. Tell us.
Here were the clues.
Is it just gonna be text saying fucking nothing?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna decide in editing. It's all about plausible deniability,
It's true,
man.
it's true. Cut this.
I'm not cutting this.
Cut this! Cut everything! Cut
Just
this
delete the
playthrough.
episode.
Delete it. Start all over again. We can't do that. I need to get Homer to Riesblau. Okay. So, this examination is an extremely important step in the process of stamping out the syndrome, right? Right, yes, it will solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome, for sure.
At least it'll be the first step.
No, it will fix everything. As I already explained, if something happens to the Queen Carrier, the whole community here may be in danger. I will have to guess them. In other words, it's possible the whole village could end up with terminal symptoms.
That's right. According to the studies, within 48 hours of the death of the Queen Carrier, everyone with the disease will become dangerously sick. We must prevent that from happening no matter what.
If something happens to Rika, my daughter, of which I am her father, the whole village will go insane. Yes. Yeah. It's our job to prevent that. It might seem ironic that we have to put your daughter in danger, but this is the only way to stamp out the syndrome. Dr. Irie, I hope you'll succeed in that examination.
They both moved, but I assume...
I feel like Takano would say something super menacing like that, but
he was the one that said
he was part of the, you know what, he was part of the
Come on, Ben, we can't lose any more points.
I mean, we can. We definitely will.
We already lost 100 points this scene.
I said there are no guarantees in medicine.
Sure.
Great.
Maybe, I don't know. Am I in this scene? Have I said anything?
I told you! Ah! Ah! What's happening? You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, we get more points for that. That's a load of bullshit. Because that...
I told you!
No, because that also means... Listen, that also means then that if we go... Come on, Come on, Steam controller.
I don't... Oh my god.
Where was it? Where was it?
Rika, she just put
Where
you-
was it? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it?
I forgot why I love this series so
Here we
much.
go.
Here we go.
I can't absolutely guarantee her safety. Rika-san, meaning Irie said it.
I know. And now it's
As
Takena's
I
giving...
said.
Yep. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on there. How many points do we get?
How many do you want?
I want 3 points.
You want 3 points?
I want one for each character in the scene.
Well, that's 4, because Rika.
She's not in the scene right now. She went up to go get like a fizzy
But
drink.
she was here.
A fizzy pop. You want to get 4 points.
4 points.
What if it was 3 points and a fizzy pop? Can we do that? Do we have that in the budget? Up to you. You're the one who's going to have to do the
It'll be tight. It'll be tight.
Okay. Do you want 4? This is a decision I'm going to make you make. Do you want 4 points or do you want 3 points and a fizzy pop?
We might have to sell the truck for the fizzy pop. Is that a trade you're willing to make?
No, never.
Okay.
4 points then. Screw it.
If you want to buy us a fizzy pop for the score,
Okay.
send Magus merch.
Send me merch.
If it arrives before this video comes out, we will have enough in the budget for a fizzy pop.
But they won't know to send the merch until this video comes out.
Exactly. So this is a gamble. This is fate.
What?
This
Hold
is
on.
fate.
Hold on now. What if they send merch after this video comes out? Do we get a point? Do we get a fizzy pop?
No, because
Can you get a box of merch at least? Can we put a box of merch in the final episode?
I mean we can put it in the episode, but we won't get a fizzy pop for it.
What if there's a fizzy pop in the merch? Somebody out there, I know you're listening. Send us.
Don't do
fizzy
that.
pop.
Don't send perishables.
Send me.
Don't send him
a
perishables.
fizzy pop bottle. I'll
He
tip
will-
out the insides.
He will
and I'll
regret
take
it.
a picture of it and I'll put it on Twitter.
He will regret it if you send him perishables.
I
Don't
won't.
listen to him.
I won't regret it. I know. Look, I can handle this. I can handle.
I can stop anytime I want.
I can stop anytime I want. Send me merch. I dare you.
I would like to, as Ben's legal advisor, disclaim that this is not Ben begging for merch. It is Ben performing a bit.
It's true.
And that any
You don't actually have to send me
implication
merch.
that Ben is begging for goods from his audience is purely for comedic effect and should in no way be taken as undue influence
But-
over impressionable children
It's true.
watching this video series,
true.
which is not
Only-
marketed towards young children and
No.
is not in the YouTube
It's
backend
explicit- I was gonna
marked
say,
as for
it's
children.
not for children.
Not for children.
Which means that it will play even if you minimize the video on your phone app of YouTube. It will continue to play.
Did you know, Ben, that
What
the
the fuck
YouTube
is
app
that? What?
in America on
Yeah?
Android
Tell me about
lets
it.
you close the app and have the video just on your screen while you do other things?
Dude,
it doesn't here.
I know. I've seen so many ads being like, would you like to listen to the audio while you've got the app minimized? Pay us money. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's ridiculous.
It's a microtransaction in the YouTube app, which
and
is
it's only
awful.
outside of America.
Yeah.
It's a load of shit.
It's a load of horse turd.
That's right.
Point is, if you're a rich Saudi prince, send me all of the merch.
But not
Otherwise-
perishables. I
but
will
not
succeed.
perishables, unless you really want to. I will succeed. I will save Rika-chan, san, and the villagers too, and her little dog. I promise. Okay, I will talk to my wife. I will let you know our decision. And then what happened?
Then they died.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. You are a very kind man who will live very long life for being such a good boy. Oh. That doesn't bode well. That does not bode well. After Rika and her mother left, Takano started to laugh. What is it? What's so funny, you psychopath?
Oh, nothing. I just thought it was amusing to get permission from both the patient and her parents beforehand.
Rika-chan is going to something she doesn't have to. I thought I should as a courtesy. I would have gotten consent from the man last year had he been in a normal condition.
Last year?
It's a whole year later. What happens a year later? Felix!
Oh, I know the answer to this one, Ben.
Do you want to just tell us?
It's... Okay, now the pause, like just leaving a real pregnant pause in there just to make it seem like I don't know that it's Rika's parents died, just
I was
dramatic
wondering what you were
effect.
doing there. Do you want to
Pause
jump
for
in?
effect. Come on,
Okay.
you know the drill. Pause for
But
effect.
you don't actually have to pause to do that. You could just like edit in a pause in the video. Like You don't actually
But then
have
it
to
wouldn't be an
pause.
effect on you. It'd just be an effect on the audience.
But it didn't have much of an effect on me except for confusion. Was that what you were going for?
That's an effect.
You know what? You're right. You know what? You got me there. You had the effect of confusion. Alrighty. Is this Takano's line?
Are you being tormented with guilt ever since you started your research here?
What do you mean? This type of teasing was normal from Takano, but maybe she had gone a little too far. Irie made it how displeased he was to hear that.
Yeah, real normal for your colleagues to just
right.
be like, human rights?
Who needs human rights? Not me.
You can only research Hinamizawa syndrome by using living beings. You feel guilty continuing your work because of that.
Those guilty feelings are a necessity. Whether it's a murder or dissection, the fact that you're taking someone's life is the same. We have to accept that and at the same time devote ourselves to our research.
That's an extremely impressive theory you have there.
Oh no.
Then, Dr. Irie, how many times have you gotten consent before you cut into people's brains?
At least once. Irie didn't think Takano knew about that.
I love blackmail.
Why would he not? Oh god.
How many brains have you cut up without consent using your selfish theory that people commit crimes due to mental disorders as your excuse?
Uh-oh. That is,
Common sense changes with time. Back then, doctors didn't need to explain anything or get consent beforehand, so I don't think you have to be concerned about the past. It'd be a problem now, but it was okay back then. So, that's fine. But you feel guilty, and that's why you want to get consent from Rika-chan beforehand, and why you wanted to get it from him, right?
That's not true. In the first place, the treatment and the section are...
Listen, boy. What you want is the stamp of forgiveness, known as prior consent. Right? What you want is some stamp of forgiveness, some deception to fill your heart, so you can atone for your past sins. If you regretted what you've done, then you'd never get involved with brains again, yet you're dragging regrets behind you as you continue to deal with brains, guilty all the while. If you truly acknowledge your actions as a sin, then you would have refused to accept the appointment as director. Isn't that right, boy?
I don't need to listen to this. Excuse me.
You must listen. The field of medicine is constantly won in battles against that era's ethics and social values. When Dr. Takano discovered the existence of the syndrome, people in power at the time just disregarded their own ignorance and scoffed at his foresight, but he didn't stop researching until he collapsed. He believed that someday he'd be acknowledged. Even if it was after he died, he'd still believe in it. He could do that only because of how strong his conviction was. If it wasn't for that, he would have given up.
It's true.
A strong will is what keeps research going. Only the most determined can achieve a result, but you don't have that.
Whoa!
You're a coward who still can't decide if he should be proud or ashamed of his achievements. How could you accept the position of director with such half-hearted determination? You knew from the beginning that this research couldn't be brought to fruition without adding further blood to your already stained hands.
Damn. That's fucked up. I don't know what to say. That was very personal. Maybe I am half-hearted.
Then why don't you resign? You still have the obligation to keep things secret, but at least you won't have to feel guilty anymore. You may be my partner, but you're also simply a person who was requested by my client. Now that this research institute is fully developed, you aren't needed. If you don't even have the necessary determination to do research to begin with, you're an especially useless partner. I'll never quit researching. I'm not afraid of guilt or regret. My conviction is what will take me to the future. Just like Dr. Takano succeeded, I'll succeed alone.
Damn. That is impressive. However, though my determination may not come close to yours, I too have a will, and that is why I'm here.
On it, it says that all of my belongings should go to you. I don't know how that ended up on here. I'd really like to have a conversation with you about that.
Maybe we should rectify that. Should we take this to a lawyer? Maybe we shouldn't keep the will in the vault that lives underground in our clinic. Maybe that's not a great place to keep it. As you said, I already have blood on my hands. after I arrived in Hinamizawa, they got even bloodier, so I can't just run from my responsibilities. I will probably continue to be tormented by my unatoned sins, but I won't run. I'll get to the bottom of Hinamizawa syndrome. That is the least I can do for all the people who gave their lives for this research, and also for those who will give their lives from now on. Irie wore an uncharacteristically determined look on his face. He appeared different from even a moment before, when he was baffled by Takano having brought up those painful memories. For a short while, Irie's eyes displayed his strong will, and then he turned around. Oh, don't show the scope in your back.
Oh no.
We'll probably get consent for a chance examination, so please, start preparing for it.
Yes, I understand. Director.
Dun dun dun! They got the consent the following week.
And we'll never speak about how.
And there's definitely nothing important happening after that. And then we skip to the next year because nothing went wrong and everything's totally fine.
So proud of this community.
For being so like uplifting and getting consent and ethical.
That's right.
It's great stuff. What was that, number 13, yeah?
I think so.
I hope so.
Research is going well.
Screen 3.
Doot.
Go to the right, up. Nope. A routine inspection. Hold on, just before you click on it. Yep, that's the one. Routine inspection. Which means I get to talk like this for a while.
Good luck.
Ah, yes. Back in my childhood days, speaking this voice was some sort of super spy voice. It was excellent. The lights came on in the meeting room as the slideshow ended, and all the auditors began to applaud, praising the Irie Institute's dramatic accomplishments. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. To be honest with you, I wasn't expecting too much from this Hinamizawa, do you say, syndrome research. I figured that even if there was progress, it would be 3 steps forward and 2 steps back every decade.
Oh my, how impressive it is to achieve so much in such a short period of time. This is all thanks to you, Dr. Irie.
Oh, thank you. Oh no, this is all because of the stars that supported me, and Takano-san too.
Don't be so humble. Director Irie is a genius in the field of neurology. After all, he's also produced greater achievements than any other doctor when it comes to the brain.
That's true. Not many doctors as young as you have nearly as much experience operating on brains.
Brains!
I just love the way, I meant to point this out in the last set, but like the way that they refer to brains, like I feel like they should be using the word neurology or something like Takano's lie where she said like, if you really regretted it, you shouldn't have gone anywhere near a brain. Like,
I mean, in the last scene, I think it kind of worked as kind of like a way of tying it to like this barbarism.
Sure.
Where rather than being neurology, it was just lobotomy.
But it's in like every scene. It's very,
I
very
think
strange way of
in
putting it.
Isolation in that last scene it worked, but I don't think it does as well here.
No, I definitely, look, I normally don't, mac on about the translation team.
Yes, you do.
Or the writing in this story and
Yes,
like how maybe there could be some things that are changed very slightly. But brain is a weird word.
Brain is a weird word.
It is.
And people often mistake it for Brian, and this story would be very different if Irie shouldn't have gone near Brian.
It's true. He was operating on those Brians while they were still alive, and he had to find more Brians to work on. He was disgraced to Manklefield from ever operating on
It was the prototype
Brians
for the Ooishi Police Department.
Yeah,
the Brian Police
Brian.
Department.
This is terrible. Why have we done this? Yes, congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Irie. Now I can go back to Tokyo with my head held high.
As opposed to decapitated on one of your research tables.
And with your my brain being taken
My Brian.
out. My Brian. That's it. Done. You beat me to it. I'm honored if we gave you something good to take back with you, Tomitaki Flash-san. By the way, could you please stop calling me Lieutenant Colonel? I just can't get used to it. I almost prefer Risa-san at this point. Oh. I bet you do, huh?
You sure were a huge help. You're the one who secured funding for our research even when we couldn't produce feasible results. We couldn't have done this without you.
It wasn't any trouble. But really, the results you presented today are just brilliant. Not only have you found the cause of the syndrome, but we've also provided a clear path towards future research. We're looking forward to hearing more progress when we come again next time. I'm sure the Tokyo office will quit bothering us about cutting your budget with these sorts of results.
After all, we nearly lost our budget for canned coffee we provided to you all, didn't we?
Aha! Tomitaki-kun, Flash, please make sure you report our progress to Tokyo well enough that they give us enough funding to hold a party with cake.
We've been getting nothing but the stick. It's time for the carrot.
Man, I wish I got a carrot right now. That'd be great. What about carrot cake? I'd be so ready. Oh, we'll be happiest if that carrot comes back in the shape of funding or a cake. I would also like a birthday cake. Nobody ever remembers my birthday. And with that congenial atmosphere, our routine audit was over. Irie was surrounded and being questioned by National Institute of Infectious Disease workers, also known as NID, who had joined the auditors. Takano-san, congratulations. I can't really say this out loud, but very loudly, but all the progress I've seen tonight is thanks to your hard work.
Thank you, Jiro-san.
Oh!
Jiro-san and I are the only ones who know that strings were pulled in order to create the Irie Institute, so only Jiro-san can understand what I had to go through.
It's true.
But I've only just risen to the stage for my research. My opponent and I are finally in the same arena, that's all. The critical fight comes after this. It should be getting even more exciting in the future.
By the way, Manager Nakagawa told me to tell you that he wants you to hold a presentation in Tokyo. Even the Alphabet Board wants you to come meet with them. I guess they all want to hear this directly from you.
Oh my, isn't having you explain enough?
I don't think that's what they mean. I bet they want to meet such pretty researcher in person, maybe.
My, aren't you being silly, Jiro-san?
Ooh. What a nerd. Oh, excuse me, Major Takano, there's a phone call for you. Whoa.
Thank you for holding. This is Takano.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, it's old man. Oh, how are you doing?
Koizumi-sensei, thank you for taking the time to call me.
Oh, I heard you made a significant breakthrough, Mio-chan.
3 whole murders, that's quite the achievement.
I hope to see many more in your future, so I had to call to congratulate you.
Well, thank you very much, yes. Thanks to your support, we've been able to accomplish the first steps of identifying the microbe that causes his Hinamizawa syndrome.
I see. Great job, Mio-chan. I'm sure Takano-kun is very happy in heaven right now.
It's a little too early to say. My grandfather was attempting to go beyond merely identifying the cause of the syndrome. His work was about showing the possibility of human thoughts actually being controlled by parasitic agents in our bodies. Only when that is proven will his research be recognized for the great achievement it is. When we're able to explain all thoughts and religions with parasites, the world is going to be tossed into chaos.
How much fun. How interesting. I can just imagine how those religious big shots react once they find out that their leaders are parasites. Oh, how interesting. I would love to see that. I won't die until you show me that, Mio-chan.
That's a bit of foreshadowing. Please don't say that. Do look forward to it, though. I'll make sure that this research will spread shock throughout the world.
Oh, damn.
Then the whole world will finally realize how great my grandfather was, and they'll be fighting each other to read over the documents he left behind. Only then can I say I've repaid my debt to him.
I'm a little envious of Takano-kun. I don't want money, all these billions. I don't mind getting rid of half of what I have. I just wish I had a grandchild who would carry on my legacy.
I gave my actual grandchildren so much money they all became lazy fucks.
Yeah. That's why you don't give anyone any money.
That's right.
You burn it at the end of your life.
Thank you so much. Those words mean so much to me.
By the way, I sent you a present. It's a nice bottle of wine for you to celebrate with. I didn't know your address, so I sent it to the clinic. However, they told me they're having a difficult time importing it, so it may take a little while, but when it comes, please have a big old party with all of your best friends who helped you.
Celebratory wine? Well, I wonder what expensive sort of drink Koizumi-sensei will be sending us.
Oh, it's not that kind of expensive. Don't you remember? Mio-chan, Takano-kun used to keep a particular bottle of wine.
I remember. That's right, my grandfather kept a certain bottle of wine I've never heard of. I don't know if he bought it himself or if someone gave it to him, but he treasured it, and he always said he'd open it when his research finally gained recognition. I was a child then, so I don't even remember what brand it was, but Mr. Koizumi would know. He went through all the trouble to find the same bottle of wine for this special occasion. For the first time in a while,
Takano felt the same sunny warmth she experienced during her time with her grandfather.
Thank you very much, Uncle Koizumi.
Aww. I like it when you call me that, Mio-chan. I don't feel like you're speaking to me when you say Koizumi-sensei.
I can't help but smile along with him, because I think Tomitaki and
Flash.
Irie were just having a similar exchange. If you like it that way, then I'll be happy to call you that when there's nobody around.
I'd be happy if you call me that even in front of people.
I don't know exactly how old he is, but if he can laugh so energetically, he'll live for many more years to come. There's a lot of foreshadowing
There's
going
a
on
lot
here.
of that.
I guess the saying about living a long life is true after all.
He's gonna live so many years.
Is he gonna have a heart attack right now over the phone?
I'm going to live to the ripe old age of the phone hangs, the beep, and then that transition and like the beeping of the heart monitor. Done. Scene end.
Classic.
Classic scenes.
Love it.
Death scenes of old people. Takano-kun and I both wished you were truly part of our family. We really did.
My grandfather had his own family, of course, but because he was so into his research, he became estranged from his wife.
Oh my god.
They were legally married, but they lived separately. I never met his family when I was a child. I only met them after my grandfather committed suicide.
Holy shit.
During his latter years, my grandfather went into psychological despair and began to look at his life with cynicism. His condition became worse over time, and he was shocked at his own dementia. He was afraid of living while his consciousness degraded. So he jumped off the rooftop of the hospital. Only my name was in his suicide note. None of his family members' names were in it.
Were you gonna get to read it?
That's when all his relatives showed up and took everything my grandfather left behind. They were afraid I was going to get his estate. They had lawyers and all that, so I backed down. I asked for everything in his study in return. Those idiots didn't understand the value of my grandfather's research. They're actually happy to strike a deal out of court, and they could also get rid of the piles of papers and jars with human organs in them. And they never even showed up when he was alive, yet like hyenas, they appeared after his death. I'd never let them put their hands all over my grandfather's research. Fortunately, I was able to protect my grandfather's soul from their tainted hands.
Okay, I'll get going here. If there's anything you need, be sure to call Uncle Koizumi, okay? I'll do anything for my granddaughter.
Thank you, Uncle Koizumi. I'll work even harder.
Oh,
You know, to be even more grim is if they cut away from the phone scene and then Tomitaki is like, oh, by the way, Takano, did you hear Koizumi-sensei passed away several weeks ago?
No!
It's like, what? And they just never explain it.
That'd be great. No. We gotta keep some semblance of realism in this pseudoscience bullshit. All right. What's next? That was 13, yeah? What screen are we on? What screen are we on?
We're on
Screen
3.
That was what we were just on?
Yeah.
Okay. It was 14. 15, screen 4.
Oh, give me a second.
Oh,
It's
shit.
gotta be this one.
No. You sure? Go back to screen 3. Just let me double check we've done that one. Yeah, we have. Okay, good. Okay, it's fucking time, I guess. We're doing the bottom middle one on the left.
Oh boy!
It's time for little baby boy to appear.
Little Mr. Canada.
Little babby. Oh, God. I guess it's probably from his perspective, right? Oh, it's been so long. How does his voice even sound? It's been years.
I mean, your version of the voice or the other version of the voice?
Both, because I have to represent all versions.
The person who voiced Satoshi last time on the show It's responsible for one of the pieces of hardware in this here box that I'm waving at in the room.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. He got your deal, did he?
He didn't.
Box.
He didn't. He
What?
offered me a deal. I didn't take it.
What? Why not?
Because I needed it on short notice.
Oh, I see.
It's very sad.
Well, that's sad. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a better box for cheaper.
That's right. I'll probably take him up on the deal for second box.
How many boxes do you need?
At least one.
That's fair. I do love boxes.
You want a box?
Yeah, sure. I love a box. Just throw it at me right now. I'll take it home with me.
His voice is worse than I remember.
This is
It's by a significant margin.
Hey. Oh, it's just not. All right, let's get back to it, I guess. When I asked Rika-chan, she said Sadako might have possibly gone up to the mountain behind the shrine. She's fond of going there. The mountain is.
So I cut it. But we just went and had to dig up old footage of Ben playing Satoshi because he's forgotten. To which my response was, "Wow, this is a lot worse than I remember."
I agreed. Also, for some reason, we called him a vampire. I guess because of the red eyes. I think that's what was going through my head. All right, that mountain there. Oh, hey.
Oh boy. That mountain over there.
Oh, that mountain over there.
I ain't dropping no eaves.
Thank you. I'm glad you picked up on that. Oh my god. Oh, sir, no, that mountain over there. Oh my god. Let's go watch Lord of the Rings instead. Let's just do that. Okay. Let me try this again. Oi. That mountain is covered in trees, vines, and 4 logs, and she really likes that area. Any child would dream of having a secret base, and to Sadako, her secret base is the whole mountain. However, the mountains were undeveloped territory. I feel like this isn't Satoshi.
It's really slipping, but you know what? We're going first take.
I'm still in on this.
Leaving all the mistakes in.
What a fucking terrible episode.
Just every time you make a mistake, you have to make a random Samwise Gamgee quote.
That's true.
That's the rules.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
Perfect.
However, the mountains were undeveloped territory, making them a dangerous place that was easy to get lost in. There we go. It is Satoshi. Good. Oh, God. As her brother, I am a little concerned that she spends too much time in it, but maybe I should worry more about myself getting lost since I really come here. The mountain gets dark quickly when evening falls. If I still can't find her, I should just look for her somewhere else. Sadako! Sadako! I'm yelling as loud as I can, but in the woods, my voice doesn't carry that well. According to Rika-chan, she has been making a secret base in this area. She goes up there alone to expand it. What does she mean by expand it? He's getting caught in a trap. If it's a secret base, she must not want anyone to find it. Does that mean she set up some traps? Considering that, I should have noticed the traps in the mountain before one got me. Oh! Not asleep. Dead. Suddenly, my foot sunk into the ground and snagged on something like a jump rope tied beneath dry leaves. I heard some noise from up above, and then a big ball made of branches fell right next to me. It had to be one of the playful traps Sadako loved that nearly hurt me really badly, like permanently. If I wasn't so lucky, I'm sure the ball would have hit my head. Or me head.
Oh my, look who's here. It's you, Nini.
Satsuko, no, this is kind of horseplay is dangerous.
Did you not see the sign put up by the Forestry Service? It clearly states it's dangerous to come into these woods.
What, because of bears and shit.
My wonderful traps will welcome anyone who ignores that warning.
Is this trap gonna stop a bear?
Yes.
Sadako, come on now.
But like the other kind of bear.
The drop ones?
The other kind of bear. Carry on.
Okay. As her brother, I should stop her from doing things like this, but when I see her brilliant smile, I can't say anything else. I haven't seen that smile in some time. By the way, Sadako, weren't you told to come home by evening since we're going out for dinner tonight?
I don't want to go. Why don't our mother and father go by themselves? If you want to, you can go with them, Nini.
Are you still angry at father?
He threw an ashtray at me.
No. That happened with our previous father. Our current one hasn't done that yet.
He locked me out on the veranda. He didn't feed me lunch. He complained I got him the wrong brand of cigarettes. He slapped my face saying I shouldn't be a picky eater. And then...
She isn't talking about our current stepfather. Things about all of our different stepfathers have mixed himself up in her head. Every time our mother remarried, we had to call a different man our father. The word father isn't a word that should be taken lightly. If you don't truly acknowledge a man as your father, how can you call him that? That's how much weight it carries. However, just to make things smooth and peaceful, I used the word father even if I didn't want to. But it was too difficult for Satoko, young as she was, to do the same. Ever since Satoko was very little, she's been having troubles with all our stepfathers. She's never opened up to our current one. To Satoko, a father figure is no longer someone she can trust. It's true that our current stepfather doesn't have any experience being a parent, so he sometimes gets rather upset with her. But ever since the incident where Satoko called the child abuse hotline, our stepfather regretted his mistakes and tried his best to communicate with her. Even my mother realized how much Satoko has suffered emotionally when it was pointed out by the social worker. She's doing her part in trying to bring Satoko back into the family. But Satoko completely refuses to even try. It's understandable, though. Her childhood has been filled with misery. Satoko can only open up to me. That's why I have to be the one and only family member she can trust, otherwise she'll be all alone in this world. But a brother and a sister alone can't be considered a family. Unless it could.
Unless it could.
Unless it definitely could, Satoshi. Even if we don't get along now, if we continue to communicate, even in a small way, we may be able to become a real family someday. Satoko, our current stepfather, is getting nicer. He says he wants to make up with you.
That's news to me.
That's because every time he tries to say something, you run away. He wants to talk with you. He says he won't make you eat pumpkin anymore.
That's a lie. He said I couldn't leave until I ate my pumpkin and he tied me to the chair.
Again, she isn't talking about her current stepfather. Satoko, just come home with me, okay? Mother got a free dinner coupon and we don't want it to go to waste, do we? We already have the reservation, so we have to go today.
Why didn't you go, Nini? I prefer staying home alone.
Satoko usually doesn't stay out playing this late. She knows we're going out, and that's why she's out here alone. Although I want to snap at Satoko, I controlled myself. In the past tense. Because she only has me. I can't scare her. Please, let's go home, Satoko. You don't have to decide to go or not right now. You can think about it after we get there. Besides, without your help, I can't find my way down the mountain.
Nini, I brought you here so many times already and you still haven't learned? What am I gonna do with you, Nini?
Satoko holds out her hand. She often says she's embarrassed to hold my hand in front of people, but she's holding out her hand right now. I took that hand. Satoko's fragile hand. I had to protect her as her big brother. Let's go home, Satoko.
Sure.
And I will say, I like that he says her name every time he has a line. So it's very easy to figure out who's talking in that
It's
thing.
forgiving.
It's beautiful. Forgiving. It's beautiful. It means nobody has to steal any points. We just have a wholesome scene between two lovely siblings that will never be driven apart.
So calming.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, thank you for joining us for the heavy episode
Yay!
of today's recording session.
Maybe there won't be a heavy episode next time. Maybe it'll just be fine.
Just open it with like just fucking slamming drum and bass next time.
Yep, that's it. See you next time.
Next time.